Welcome, dear students. The topic of the current session is historical facts and events of Old English period. I hope and expect by the end of this session, you will have an understanding of the socio-historical and political factors and events that contributed towards the emergence of English in the Old English times. Well, my dear students, after the Germanic invasion in the British Isles, the beginning of the foundation stones of English language were laid. But it was by about 700 that the Anglo-Saxons had occupied most of the area of England. This was not a one-day process. It took a long time. Group after group and tribe after tribe would come, and then they would keep on, invading into all the nooks and corners and in all the areas of England. So with the exceptions being Cornwall and an area in the northwest, all the areas were occupied, and also a considerable part of southern Scotland was also occupied. Wales remained a British stronghold. Well, my dear students, when we talk of Anglo-Saxons and Britons, debate continues as to the exact nature of the Anglo-Saxon settlements. Some scholars are of the view that, when it comes to their arrival, it was the arrival of a ruling minority who assumed control over the British Isles, over the British population. Whereas the others think that larger groups of settlers came. However, we do not have any records of history as such to prove any of these points. Such groups may, in some cases, have lived alongside and integrated with British populations, while in some cases, they may have replaced existing British populations. The Germanic language of the incomers became the dominant one, and there are few traces of Celtic influence on Old English. Well, when it comes to the number of Celtic words taken into English in the whole of its history, you would see that the number is comparatively very, very small. However, the names of some English towns were taken over from the Britons. For example, the names London and Leeds. Here I'm going to give you some examples of certain other words that were taken from Celtic language. So, for example, the names of certain rivers came from Celtic, context. Look at the screen and you would notice Avon and Ouse. They are Celtic words for water and for stream. If you look at the names of rivers, Derwent, Darent, and Dart, they're all forms of British name for Oak River, the Thames, in the Dark River. That is called the Dark River. While Trent has been interpreted as meaning trespasser, that is a river with a tendency to flood. So, these are, the contributions of the Celtic language. Though, the number of contributions in numerical terms, the vocabulary that has entered in English language from Celtic origin is very small. However, we can still find certain words, for example, among the names of counties. Well, as we have divisions and further subdivisions geographically in Pakistan, like we have, for example, districts or provinces, etc. In the same way, county is that kind of a division. Among the names of the counties, we have Kent, Devon, and Celtic. These few Celtic words in Old English were merely a drop in the ocean, however. Their number is very small. Even in the English place names, where Old English left its biggest mark, Celtic forms are far outnumbered by English ones, and only in areas where the Anglo-Saxons penetrated late are Celtic names at all common for villages. So, the areas in England where these invaders, the Anglo-Saxons, reached late, there the Celtic names exist. Otherwise, the Anglo-Saxons took over. There are a numerous number of place names that, are certain elements that are derived from, the Anglo-Saxon tradition in the Old English language. So, these linguistic factors, the nature of the vocabulary of Old English provides actually us certain clues about the historical, social, and political context and the events of the times.